Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of First Attack. Glad all of you could join us today. I do have some news that David probably will not be able to make it today. So we are not going to have any episodes of Level 3 Focus later on today. We apologize about that. He had some stuff to take care of. But he'll be back next week. He'll be back tomorrow as well. So for the as of yet unnamed Tuesday show. So today will just be First Attack, and on First Attack, I'm gonna go over a subject that's actually very near and dear to my heart, and that is training mode, because I can spend hours and hours and hours in training mode. And I don't think a lot of people have realized how useful of a tool training mode really comes down to. And so, a lot of players who are going to be jumping into this game for the first time might not realize just how robust of a tool training mode is, especially today with a lot of the advancements that people have made in training mode. So, I'm actually going to show you guys a little bit some of the philosophies that I have with training mode, and some of the ways that you can use training mode to help you become a better player, to help you learn certain things. Because training mode, honestly, is like a workout. It's like you're going to the gym. You can sit there and lift weights all day, but if you don't have the proper form, it's not going to actually be as effective. So, there are ways to make training mode as effective as possible. So that is what I'm going to be trying to do today, is show you guys the proper way to make training mode effective. So I'm actually going to go through a bunch of different games today. And of course, we're going to start off here. You could probably hear the background music already. Is King of Fighters 13, a game that I have been picking up pretty recently and trying to learn this game. I actually played against people for the first time this last weekend. Game is really fun, very fast-paced, really enjoyable game to play. But the interesting thing about the game is the execution in it. Obviously, a lot of people talk about it's a very difficult execution game. I find the execution to be very different. There's a lot of nuances about the game that do not exist in Capcom games. So it's actually been a learning experience for me, and I've learned a lot from training mode. So I'm going to show you guys some of the common things that I would recommend in training mode. And, to start things off with, obviously training mode, most people see training mode as one thing, as a combo tester. You're going to come here and practice your best combos possible, and see if you can figure out how to do all your stuff, right? So what I'm going to do here, hang on a second. Maybe David might actually be here on time. There is a chance, so we'll see what happens. He might get here before 9 o'clock. So, but the first thing, obviously, is that what you want to do with training mode is maximize your time possible. You don't want to spend a lot of time doing a lot of useless things in here. So, and it's really funny to me because by default, most training modes have certain things on and off, and I actually disagree with almost all of it. So, for example, a lot of them actually start with the one-hit guard on, and I actually really don't like one-hit guard on because it kind of slows the pace down. Like, let's say you mess up a combo, and then, see, I can't get the next combo because he keeps blocking it. So with guard off, if I mess up a combo, I can just go right into it again. You don't have to wait as much time. And of course, the other very super obvious thing here is that try your best to, just put all your meters to infinity here. And actually, one of my biggest pet peeves right now is to get rid of stun, because I hate it when the opponent falls stun in the middle of training mode. Now, one of the nice things about a lot of modern training modes is the reset feature, and that you can actually come out like this. And I think I just switched everything on for the computer. Awesome. Okay, there we go. Now I have all the stuff. Reset, Marvel has reset, King of Fighters has reset. What's really cool about King of Fighters, you can actually assign the back button to do all sorts of different things. And so, for example, you can assign it to walk forward, which is super useful once you get him in the corner and you want to get him out of the corner, And the nice thing about it is normally I would assign that to reset, but double tapping start is a reset as well. But these are just a few of the things that you kind of want to do to make sure, because what happens a lot of the times when you do combos, you're just going to want as much meter as possible, so see, that didn't combos. And that's another thing too. I talked about this one-hit guard thing. It's a little bit dangerous. There is a little bit of danger here, because I can sit here and go, oh, look at this cool combo that I have, yeah. And you're fooled by the fact that the meter says 9, right? One of the things that you might want to learn right away is just how many hits your move normally does. And you'll see right there, that's 9 hits. So obviously, that wasn't actually a combo. This was not actually a combo. So these are a few things you got to learn. So, if you really want to test your combos, you want to put it to default guard so you can actually find out what's going on. Now, I don't want to go over anything that's too obvious here. You come into training mode and you're like, okay, let me practice my combos here. So I'm just going to practice, for example, jump. I'm going to practice jump attack into EX charge. I'm just going to practice this kind of thing. And, training mode, very common stuff here. And there's a few pitfalls that you can fall into when you're doing training mode like this. The first thing is, and these might seem really obvious to some people, but might not be very clear to a lot of other people. But when you're sitting here doing training mode, when you're practicing combos, one of the first things that you really should realize is that there's a lot of different areas on the playing field. One of the things that everybody tends to do when they get into training mode is to continue practicing their combo exactly where they are, which is the corner that you just happen to get into. And this is really, really dangerous because, for example, yesterday I was messing with Leona a little bit, and I found out that this combo here, which is into the hard punch version, the C version of her air dive attack here. Oops, I did not turn stun off. Oh, because I did it on the wrong one. Huh. Okay, so I found out that the hard punch version of this combos in the corner, which gives me a reset potential here. So let's say, I just want to test this, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, right? So this gives me a reset potential. Oh, look at this, and I get a mix-up. Oops. Like that. So I get an instant overhead kind of situation here, which might catch some opponents off guard. Very hard to time. Like that. Okay, so I get an instant overhead in that situation off of that reset. So I'm sitting there really happy about my reset situation here. Now, here's the interesting thing is that, why can't I change this to walking forward anymore? Oh, because I have them at crouch, that's why. Okay. Now, here's the dangerous thing about doing stuff always in the same corner, for example. I said that I was doing it with the hard punch. You notice something here. All of a sudden, this doesn't combo. So this combo that I was just getting myself used to doing in the corner, that I'm muscle memorying myself here, doesn't work mid-screen. The hard punch dive attack doesn't actually work, but the light version does. So this is kind of an example of where you can actually get into a pitfall, just continuing doing your combos in the corner here. And oh, look, the hard punch version works. And then when you go into actual battle, and then you go fight someone, and you're like, oh, here we go. And then this misses, and you're just completely confused, and you have no idea why that happened. So that's number one pitfall. And number two pitfall for training mode when you're practicing combos. Now, keep in mind, I'm only talking about combos in this situation. This is the basics of training mode. This is what people tend to use training mode for, and this is why a lot of people have trouble using training mode, because when they're not practicing combos, they don't know how to use training mode. But obviously training mode, one of the most important things for practicing your combos. So, I showed you that she has this instant overhead here. Oh, I should also mention another thing. If it's not intrusive, some games it's intrusive. Street Fighter Cross Tekken, it's really poor placement, very intrusive. but try to turn on your inputs, because the nice thing about inputs is that you can find out what mistakes you're making. One of the things that I had trouble with was doing flash kick with Leona for some strange reason. Like I was sitting here just trying to do a flash kick, and then sometimes that would happen, and I would end up. So there was a successful flash kick. Usually it happens when I'm trying to do something else, which is interesting enough. But every once in a while, my flash kick wouldn't come out like that. And every time I looked at my inputs, I don't know if you can actually see it on the screen. I'm actually hitting hard punch before I get to up. So most of the time when I mess up my flash kick command, which is charge down, up, and punch, I'm actually hitting the button a little too early, which I can't seem to repeat right now. Right now I'm getting it perfect, so that's kind of ironic. But okay, see, there we go, right there. Every time I try to do that drive cancel is when I mess it up. So right there I messed it up. You can see I hit hard punch before I went to up. Right there again, hard punch before I went to up. Hard punch before I went to up. And every time I get it out successfully, I'm actually hitting it after I reach up. These little things like this are very important. You don't want to discount the input display to actually aid you on figuring out where you're actually getting your mistakes here. But here's something, right? Leona has a super in the air, which is quarter circle forward, half circle back into punch. Now, I just showed you earlier you can do the instant overhead like this, right? And so I want to sit here and try to combo that into my super, because I can. Now, one of the pitfalls of training mode is going to be sticking to one side too often. What I actually found out with Leona at some point in time was I could actually do a shortcut. It doesn't sound like a shortcut, but it actually is a shortcut. I can spin the controller from down. Like if you look at the controller, let me clear out the arrows here. I can actually activate the super by doing a full circle like this. So I would start it down, spin forward all the way around, all the way to back. And the reason why this actually was nice is that I only have to spin the joystick in one direction. And as long as I end at back, I come out with the super. I don't even have to rotate the controller the other direction. I can just spin it in one direction and come out with it. So as soon as I found out that little shortcut here, I was like, oh, sick. I can actually do that. Now I only need to spin the controller one direction, so I'm super happy now, right? Like this. So, okay, this makes it much easier for me to do this. I can do this consistently now. Okay, now I'm going to be able to do this in combat all the time. Yes, I'm badass, right? Now, here's the problem, though. If we do these combos all on one side of the corner all the time, you don't realize that these kind of things might mess you up in the other corner. I'm particularly good at spinning the joystick clockwise. I am not very good at spinning the joystick counterclockwise that fast. So when I try to do the same shortcut, I can't do it on this side. Okay, so I got it out one time there, but I am definitely not good at spinning the controller in that direction. I'm sure if I sit here and practice it enough like I'm doing right now, I can get it out, but this is the thing. A lot of the times we make the fault in training mode of continuing on one side of the screen and we don't go to the other side of the screen. You want to learn how to do your combos in both directions. You want to always practice them that way. Like, for example, there was a Marvel combo that I tried for really long. I was trying to learn the Dr. Doom Marlin Pie combo off of the aerial exchange. And so I was doing it in one direction the entire time, and then I would purposely just go and switch to the other corner just to make sure that I can practice it and do it the opposite direction. Now, perhaps the largest pitfall that I think that exists in training mode is that people tend to practice combos in optimal situations. So for example, I'm going to sit here and practice, the instant overhead in the super again, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this super consistent until I can do this 3 times in a row. Right? So you're going to sit here and practice this. I'm going to sit here and practice this. Let's see if I can do it one more time. All right, so I did it 3 in a row. I must be getting good at this now, right? Obviously, I'm amazing at this now. Okay, so I'm getting consistent. You know what? I'm going to do it 4 times in a row. Yeah, there we go. So now I've got this execution down pat. I've got this execution down pat. That is going to be your downfall as soon as you go into a real match and start playing. What you actually need to start doing at this point, and this is the one thing that I don't see anybody ever do in training mode, is you got to start learning to do these combos in odd situations. Again, in training mode, you're optimizing everything that you're doing, so you're always ready to do like that combo. So when I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I know I need to tap up and hit jab at the same and hit A at the same time, and then I can get the overhead and then do the super. Problem is, in combat, it's never going to turn out that way. You're never going to be able to walk up to the opponent, stand there for about 3 seconds and go, okay, I'm going to get him with this now. Okay. Right? That's never going to happen. Never going to happen in a real match. So what actually happens is now you actually want to start learning real life situations, or it doesn't even have to be real life, but it just has to be at least something where you're not ready for it. You see right there, I dashed up and did it. Because a lot of times you think, oh, okay, I'm going to dash up and it's going to be the same thing, but it's not going to be anymore. Or here's another one, for example, real life situation, right? What's a common tactic with King of Fighters characters, right? This little low jump hop roundhouse like this. And then you kind of keep pressuring them with these low jump roundhouses, and eventually you do this low jump into low attack, catch them standing, right? So obviously one of the tactics is if you empty jump, if the opponent actually has great reactions, they're going to crouch block it in time. So what's a really good trick is the empty jump and then jump back jab, right? So I'm going to empty jump back jab, and practice that. So I'm going to empty jump back jab, and practice that. Now I'm going to do low jump, empty jump back and jab. See, this is the kind of thing that you need to do with it. And then, if even in these low jump situations, if I do low jump, then so I do diagonal low jump, neutral low jump back jab into super. That's still too consistent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do low jump, dash, low short, now low jump, and now do it. And see, I didn't get it out, even though I got it out 4 times in a row just earlier. See, this is the way that you have to learn how to land these hard things to do, because if you just sit there and think that you're going to do it every time in regular combat because you can do it every time in training mode, you're never going to succeed. It's just not going to help your execution. Execution is all about in the middle of nowhere and getting it out just on the fly, like right when you need it. So earlier I showed you this little reset here, right? So now I'm going to do the same thing, but try to do it after the reset. Like that. So I am giving myself different scenarios to practice this. And that is what's going to help you become better at execution. Like that, right? So try not to continue to do combos over and over again, just kind of standing still, just in the same situation over again. You want to keep modifying the setup that you have for the same combo. And that's actually really, really important. And one more thing that I would recommend in training mode. One of the biggest problems in training mode that players have is that they do just practice combos. And in training mode, there's so much more that you can practice besides just your combos. And a lot of people don't realize this, and it's also because it's not particularly enjoyable. But there is a lot of things that you can practice. For example, you don't want to just do combos. Like, here's a good one, for example. If you do 2 low shorts and then go for a low jump, this is actually a pretty good attack tactic in King of Fighters right here, right? See my cross-up right there? So these are things that you want to learn as well. Low short, and then low jump. See, the problem is if you don't practice this, sometimes in real combat, you're going to try to do a low short, low jump, and then low jump too early so nothing comes out, or you do low short, low jump, and then you do the jumping D too early so it doesn't hit at all. Sometimes you want to just practice these kind of low jump tactics like this, you know, just practice this movement here. And not a lot of players spend enough time doing this. Another great example, which hopefully I'll show you later, is in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, when it actually becomes pertinent to learn how to fight against push blocking. If you just sit there and practice combos all day, you're never going to be able to come up with ways to fight push blocking. So I'll show you that, guys. I'll show that to you guys in just a little bit. So this is kind of a few little basics here that, you know, when it comes to just practicing combos, you know, the three main things that I want people to make sure that they realize is don't always do your combos in the corner. Make sure you try outside the corner, because you'll find out a lot of things don't work the way that you thought they did. Secondly, always make sure you use both corners or just both directions, even if you have a mid-screen combo. If you have mid-screen combos, keep trying to practice them mid-screen. Don't let the opponent go into the corner. And see, this is actually a really cool exercise right here, is keep doing the same combo, but jump over them and go to the other side. This kind of does two of the things for you in that. One, you'll make sure you know what's a mid-screen combo that works. And secondly, it forces you to practice both directions. The third thing as well is make sure that you get good enough to practice these things, you know, off of odd situations. So like the jump attack here. See, off of a jump attack, all of a sudden I found out that 3 kicks isn't possible unless I cross up. If I don't cross up, 3 kicks is not going to hit, so I can only do 1 kick, for example. You know, little things like that. And then the last thing is, you know, just when you're in training mode, don't necessarily only practice combos, practice movement as well. It's kind of a little difficult to do because you have to know what your character is capable of beforehand, but it's a very important skill to learn if you just do these kind of things. So when I come back, I'm going to talk about another super important feature of a lot of modern training modes, which is record. Being able to record the dummy is one of the most amazing advances in fighting games these days. So stick around, guys. I will be right back. Alright, everybody, welcome back to First Attack. Trying to teach everybody a little bit about training mode in this episode. It's a super valuable tool. I don't think anybody uses it to the extent that it should be used. Training mode, super valuable tool. So I am going to do my best to show people a lot of little tricks about how to use training mode. And so what I'm going to do in this segment here is I'm going to show you guys the power of recording. And recording, and this is where it gets a little tricky here. The things that you start finding out that you can do with record mode sometimes aren't obvious, and sometimes, you know, it's actually the way that I like to put it is you kind of have to have a programmer's mentality. I kind of, you know, I am a programmer. That's what I do as a day job. And so I kind of have the way of looking at it that way. Hang on, see. Okay. So here we go. So one of the most important things in this game right now is record mode, especially if you do not have a friend with you. Record mode will let you find out so much about your character, will let you find out so many different things that you can do. And there's so many little subtle tricks about using record mode. And the very most number one important thing that I probably should mention about record mode is what we programmers like to call reproducibility. And this is, you have to make sure what you're doing is consistent, because you don't want to fool yourself into thinking you can do something that you can't actually do. So here's a perfect example. I'm going to make Ryu walk up and do EX Hurricane, okay? So there, I just programmed him and made him do EX Hurricane because I want to find out if this is punishable, right? So I'm just going to sit here and crouch. Now see, already I made one mistake, recording the dummy. The number one mistake that I made right now is that I need to make sure I record the dummy to block afterwards. If I don't record the dummy to block afterwards, how do I even know that it was a successful punish or not? So let's try that again and make sure that I'm holding down back with Ryu afterwards, right? So now let's play him back. So let's try this again. See, can't punish it. See, that was one mistake I already made the first time. Okay, so now we know that that's actually safe. Now, what I talked about reproducibility, what I'm going to do here, and this is kind of where the programmer's mentality, this is actually where it's going to get a little bit tricky. All right, so I apologize about this ahead of time. But especially in Street Fighter 4, because reversals are so easy, what I want to practice right now is I want to practice my distancing against Ryu's wake-up uppercut. So what I'm going to do is I am going to sweep Ryu and then try to practice avoiding his wake-up reversal uppercut. Now, this is kind of weird because I'm using Cammy and here's Ryu as the recorded dummy. How am I going to do this, right? How am I actually going to do this? And I talked about this. This is all about reproducibility. So if I sit here and I go, okay, you know what? All I have to do is imagine of getting swept and then I'm just going to mash uppercut. So I'm going to imagine I'm getting swept and I'm just going to mash uppercut like this, right? Ooh, and I come out with a super. That's really great. All right, so now if I play back here, you know, I can sweep him and most likely he'll come out with a reversal uppercut like this. The problem is, and they actually fixed this in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, there's actually no indication of what state Ryu is in right now. So I don't know what he's actually doing here. Again, I talked about reproducibility. One of the weirdest things about training mode is that, you know, obviously you can record them doing whatever it is that you want. So one of the key things to do is to give yourself visual cues of what to do. If you guys saw me doing this last week, when I was trying to show you guys frame traps, right? You saw me do this with Ryu and I would crouch and then I would start mashing throw just so I can actually practice frame traps, right? Like that. See, now I just got a frame trap there. One of the things that I didn't really talk about there was the key factor that the reason why I could make that test work was that I crouched and waited and then I started mashing. See, a lot of problems when people try to record stuff, they just start mashing, crouching like this. And what ends up happening is I will never have a position where I can get Ryu to start blocking anything. See, and so it just becomes impossible to test. So when I talk about reproducibility, one of the nice things is to always give a visual cue. So here's the example that I want to give. I talked about trying to practice against Ryu's his uppercut. So instead of actually just waiting and then mashing uppercut like I did last time, what I'm actually going to do instead is I'm going to crouch once, like that. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to tap down and then start mashing uppercut. The reason why this is important is because when I play him back now, I have a frame of reference for when to start. You know, I'm going to get rid of his super. Max start. Can I just drain his super? Where's there like a second player? Oh, that's what it was. It was, no, I guess not. I have not messed with Street Fighter 4 training mode in a long time. I forgot all the options. So let's... Okay, so we talked about reproducibility a little bit here. So what I'm going to do with Ryu here is I'm going to record him, do a quick crouch. Well, actually, what should I do? Yeah, I could probably just make him do this, then do a quick crouch, and then crouch block. No. So what I'm going to see, this is what I mean. This is kind of the programmer's mentality. I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to code Ryu to do. So the reason why I'm trying to waste this meter at the beginning there is because I actually want to make sure I don't have any meter for super so that I won't actually accidentally do a wake up super. So the other thing that's really important here is that quick little crouch that I said at the beginning there. Now, what I'm getting out of that little crouch there is I know when to start my test. Whoops. So I missed it right there. And you're going to see him crouch really quick. See, now I know I can avoid that. And that gives me the little cue for the timing on when to actually try my trick. So he's going to whiff an uppercut, crouch a little bit. And see, now I'm too far for that. Let's try one more time. It's okay. And see right there, he did a reversal uppercut and I hit him out of his uppercut. And see, these are the kind of things that you're trying to test the timing here. Now, even more important than that, you might even want to just make sure you're right next to him and then do a combo into the sweep, for example. So that way you have the same distance reproducibility like that. See, I just beat his reversal uppercut. Now, the important thing about doing it that way is that now I know I'm at the same distance every time I sweep him. So he's going to crouch. Now I know he's at the same distance every time, because what I might find out is I might actually try to do that trick when I'm sweep him at this range and I find out something works. But then the next time when I am actually in battle, I actually sweep him from this far away. And then I think, oh, okay, that same thing is going to work. And all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. So, for example, here, I'm going to let him crouch, low jab, then sweep. Ooh, he got me first. Never mind. All right, so let's start that again. I'm going to do one low jab instead. Now I'm at a different distance, right? I'm at a different distance from Ryu here. Which means I have to learn a different timing for my dive kick to beat the wake up uppercut. And so these are kind of different ways that you can learn how to use the record mode to practice higher level stuff. And one of the even more simpler things that you can actually learn, I apologize, I mean, is everybody... Oops. That's my bad. Sorry, guys. I am not staring at the right screen here. Sorry. All right, so another thing that's really useful for testing... I hope everybody could see that. I mean, I apologize, everybody, if nobody could actually see that. So, my apologies. This is exactly why I need a stream producer to be reading these chats and yelling at me about this. You know, obviously, it's very easy to test things that you can punish, for example. So, there we go. So, I'm doing an EX headbutt like that. And once again, it's very useful just to kind of throw out those little things right there, those low jabs, just to kind of give myself an indication that, you know, something is about to happen so I know what the timing is. And again, I did the same mistake last time. I forgot to make Honda block. So now I'm going to make sure he's blocking here. Okay, so now let's go back and test that again. I mean, one time I was playing against Edma, and I did something, and he asked me if I could punish it, and I said, I don't know. And he's like, how can you not know? And you have to go into training mode and figure these things out. So I've discovered this way. Okay, so he just did the wrong headbutt there, and so yes, I can actually punish him. But for the most part, if Honda does an EX headbutt, and I reversal my Ultra, can't hit him. Can't hit him at all. Alright, so now I just want to find out anything that can punish him. So I'm just going to try my regular super. And yes, it can punish him. So these are kind of ways to actually figuring out how to, you know, punish things. And it's really, this is just, it's such a basic concept, but nobody goes in training mode to do that. So, okay. Another thing, here's another thing. And I apologize about this ahead of time because I have not done an episode about option selects. So I'm going to talk about option selects here a little bit. And for those people who don't really understand what an option select is, I apologize. Hopefully at one point in time I'll do an option select episode really soon, and that way you'll understand what that's all about. But using training mode to test option selects is really, really confusing, because the best way to test it, honestly, is... So let's test the very standard Akuma low jab sweep option select that stops backdashes. Now the funny thing about this is, in order to test that properly, I'm not going to be as Akuma. I'm going to make Akuma the training dummy. The reason why you want to do this is because the only way you can really test an option select properly is if you can do it consistently the same way every time. And the only way you're going to be able to test it the same way consistently every time is by making him the recorded dummy here. So for those of you people who don't know what the sweep option select is if I hit low jab and then another low jab but hit roundhouse before it. So I go low jab, roundhouse, low jab. Low jab, roundhouse, low jab. Let me demonstrate what it looks like with Ryu really quick. Whoops. So you can see the commands here. So you see it right there. It's low jab and then roundhouse, low jab. Now, for those people who understand what that is, they'll know why that works. I won't go into it right now in too much detail, because hopefully I'll do that in a future episode. But the only way that I'm going to be able to test this is if I can do it consistently. Okay, so right there, I just inputted it, right? So now what I'm going to do is play him back, and as a Ryu player, I'm going to mash backdash. Okay, I just got hit. And now I'm going to test it again by low blocking. Okay, he did 2 low jabs instead. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to mash backdash again. And he caught me. See, that's the reason why you have to have the dummy be the character that's actually doing the option select. Because the thing about it is, if you manually try to do it every single time, then you could keep screwing up your timing. And if the next time I try to do just the block, for example, you might actually come out with low jab and then sweep. And, you know, the timing that you got it to work isn't going to be the timing that you're going to do it again. So here, I'm going to show you a perfect example of this. I'll show you why it's not consistent. Instead of trying to explain it to you, I'll actually show it to you for once. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to crouch and then just mash backdash with Akuma. Okay? So let's do playback here. And also, to always reset the playback, pause, unpause. It's very important here. So now I'm going to do this. All right, so my option select worked there, right? So now you're like, okay, see, you tested it with yourself and the dummy as the other character, right? But how do I know that this timing that I used here wasn't going to end up doing low jab into low roundhouse if he decided to block, right? And, okay, so then I'll program the computer to just block and then test it again. See, it doesn't work that way, because the next time you actually try it, you're going to do it as a different timing than you did before. So the really only way to test an option select properly is to program the computer to do the option select. Because that way, so what you want to do here, for example, see right there, I completely messed up my option select timing. That should not have happened. So let's try that again. Okay, that time I probably got it right. So let's go to playback again. Whoa, how did I get hit out of my backdash? Whoa, that's so weird. Huh. Where's my invincible backdash, Ryu? Okay, well, there's a perfect example for you, is that I mistimed it. I obviously jabbed too late, and so that wasn't a particularly good option select test. So let's do... Okay, that was probably a little better. Now let's play that back again. And I'm going to mash backdash with Ryu. Okay, so I hit him there. And now I'm going to test to make sure that I got the 2 low jabs, right? Now, to test it, to test my timing on that option select again, I'm going to record it again. And go to playback and do it again. There you go. So I got it again. You know what? I want to test my timing on it again. Go back to record. All right, let's play it back one more time. So there I've managed to do it successfully 3 times in a row. Well, let's make sure. So I'm just going to block. And he comes out with 2 low jabs like he should right there. See, this is how you have to test the option select. You have to record it multiple times and then make sure that it responds to all the scenarios that it's supposed to intend to counter. So if you don't record the computer doing it, you're never sure if the timing that you used actually worked for the scenarios that you actually wanted it to work for. Again, I apologize to everybody that this is all confusing if you don't understand option selects. I really apologize about that. Now that I think about it, I probably should have did the option select episode first before I did this. But, hopefully in the future I'll do an option select episode so it'll make sense. But that's a great example right there of how you test option selects. Record there's just so much you can do with this. For example, one of the things that you'll actually find out here, for example, I'm just going to record Akuma doing that, low forward fireball, and you're going to find out that low forward fireball at the closest of distances is never a true block string. So you can always uppercut in the middle of that. And there's just all these little things that you can test in the game just by coming in here and recording this way. And a lot of people don't take advantage of this. If you find yourself having a bad matchup against a certain character, find out what you can do. Don't sit here and practice your best combos possible. Find out what your best combo is in situations that are not optimal. So, for example, here, one of the things that people like to complain about is Cammy's uppercut. A lot of people think that her uppercut is really safe when it gets blocked, and there's not really much you can do to her. And so if you actually are one of those people who believes that, then actually come to training mode, record Cammy, and uppercut, and then make sure you hold down back to block. And so what happens is you're going to play back, and you'll be like, I can sweep her, right? But now here's this thing, like any Cammy who hits you that close up obviously is going to always be punishable. So let's record Cammy so she uppercuts you a little further away. Make it a little bit harder to punish. Now let's play back. Right? So you're saying to yourself, I can't get much off of this character. See, this is why this thing is so good. The best I can get is a sweep. So you just keep doing this scenario over and over and over again until you start coming up with something that might punish her better. Right? So now all of a sudden I just realized I can dash forward and then get a combo, for example. Whoops, no dash. But see, that's good to learn. Learn the timing to punish this properly. Low strong, low roundhouse, which is a combo, and I just didn't get it there, so that's a better punish, right? And then later on, you're just like, you know what? I'll find out if I can do even more stuff to her. Whoops. Sorry, it's hard playing in this position here. Oh, I ran out of meter because I have no more meter here. Refill. Ugh, so bad. This is old man syndrome here. Yeah, well, you get the idea. Into Ultra right there. There you go. All right. So, this is, again, ways to learn a lot of stuff. You can learn so many things just out of using the record feature in training mode. So, try not to ignore this thing. It's probably the most valuable tool there actually is out there in training mode. Training mode is not only here just for learning combos. It teaches you scenarios. It teaches you lots of different things. There are certain mix-ups, for example. I don't want to get into too much of it. I mean, hopefully you guys can actually experiment and find out a lot of these different things yourselves. But, if you do have any questions about it, feel free to ask me, obviously. And so, After this, I'm going to go to one more scenario of training mode. And after this little break, I'm going to show you another way that you can actually use training mode to your advantage. So I will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody, to First Attack. I'm going over some training mode tricks and tips that you can actually learn with this. And I saw in the chat a lot of people sitting there talking about, they wanted me to show like the option select to counter Rufus's dive and stuff like that. That is very important to learn, yes. And unfortunately, that's not the topic that I'm trying to cover here. The topic that I want to cover, obviously, is training mode, and learning to option select those dives will be in an option select episode when I actually finally get a chance to do that for everybody. So what I'm going to show you guys is some more little tricks of training mode. First of all, when you actually play training mode in a game, make sure that you know about all the features in training mode. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think, has probably the best training mode I've ever seen. And so you really want to take advantage of a lot of things that it does. Probably, I talked about how important it is having the record option. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is amazing because of the fact that you can just record and play back, at the push of a button. I completely recommend to everybody that in training mode you set, one button to record the second player and the other button to just do a playback. Because there's actually a lot of little cheats that you can do with this. For example, a lot of the times you sit here and you try to do a combo against this guy, and then you're like, I want to do a mid-screen combo, but he's trapped here. For example, one trick that I always like to do in this training mode is I like to record walking forward like this, right? So if I'm ever in the corner here and I'm like, you know what, I want to test a mid-screen combo, playback, okay, stop the playback. Now I got him out of the corner. Now I can actually do test combos here, right? And I apologize right now because I love training mode in this game so much, and so if I get lost in training mode every once in a while, I definitely apologize that. But you say, like I said, this is really just nice just to have these kind of things here. But you know what? Even more important, for example, is to, just see if you can stop, Magneto tri-jumps, for example. Let's try that again. Let's try that one more time. I'm not a Magneto player. I apologize. I'm really bad at Magneto. Actually, that's not even a good example because Magnetos generally don't do that. They always tri-jump down with light. I don't even know how to do this with Magneto. There we go. Okay, got him. So, you can actually so you can actually play back and just like, oh, okay, I'm going to learn to combo off of this scenario when I see him super jump. So, playback. And see, God, that's so fast. Okay, let's try another one. But see, the cool thing about that is what you end up doing is testing combos in different scenarios. That's like the whole point, is you don't want to always just sit here and do combos and optimize situations. So I'm just going to record Magneto jumping like this, right? And now I play back here and I'm going to hit him. I'm going to try to hit him with a shield slash, like on playback. Okay, now... Wow, I am so bad at this game. Holy smokes. There we go. Oh, I have him. Okay, that's my default habit of going to down back every single time. So I'm going to record, jump forward, jump back. Okay, stop. So now I can hit him with this. So now I have, see? Do you see how awkward that was when I hit him? That's why it's super important to practice these kind of things. Don't always put yourself in the optimal position, because that kind of stuff happens. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, so now I've got to learn a different way to do this combo. Maybe try to hit him from further away, or if I dash up, skip the standing hard punch, for example. Just launch him directly, but now he's too high up. You see what I mean? There's just a lot of different actually ways to play these games and to actually test it. giving yourself different scenarios. And that's one of the things that you really, really need to learn how to do. And then I talked about this a little bit earlier about, let me see, dummy settings here, about practicing movement, for example. So here I'm just going to practice advancing guard. You can see that this just kind of really messes up Captain America's game, right? So even more important with a character like Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is a really kind of tricky character to use. When you play against Clockwork, for example, he just looks like he's all over you, right? But if you're not good at dealing with push block, because the thing about it is people push block in the real world. In training mode, people don't push block. And so if you don't get the opponent to push block, how are you ever going to learn how to combat this, right? So here's the scenario here where I'm just like if I had him so that he was on no guard, I'd be like, okay, here's these great scenarios. Oh, look at this rushdown string I'm doing. Oh, look at this. Like, I can jump cancel this and go low again. And this is so sick. Look at that. And then as soon as you go into a real combat and then you play them, they push block your first hit. And your whole mix-up is gone. Your whole mix-up has just been destroyed. So now it comes down to the point, how are you going to learn how to combat this? So if I do low short and he always push blocks me, I'm going to learn to push block. I'm going to learn to jump cancel my first move. And so now, but see, now I can stay in his face. Ooh, this is hard. But see, the second time he pushes me away, right? So now, and you see why this is so important to practice? Because I'm terrible at this. And so this is actually a really interesting exercise in this game, is learning how to fight against this push block here. Find a way to keep in his face and try to use your assist as well. So like, okay, now I have this, and then here we go again, and see, look how bad this looks. Look how clunky I look. Like, if you watch Clockwork do this with Doom, it's like poetry in motion. He's just always in your face. He's doing all these really great things, you know, getting around push blocking. And here you see my sad, pathetic Doom. I'm like super slow, and it's just like bad. I could have been punished there, you know, and I didn't mean to do the gunshot there and stuff. This is actually something very super important to practice. If you don't practice this kind of a thing in a fighting game, this is a problem. So definitely take the time to learn these kind of things. You know, if you don't actually sit here and take the time to learn these things, as soon as you go into real combat, you're going to get owned up by these kind of things. And the last thing I want to talk about is these things right here. Air recovery, knockdown recovery. The fact that there's a random option here is really, really, really important. Very, very, very important. Because you can test so many things using this. So for example, I'm going to do a Felicia combo. Alright, so there's a nice little mix-up there that you can get with the standing light. Go for the air throw like this, right? Now the problem is, a lot of players have actually gone into training mode and said, "Oh, dude, check out this little reset that I have. It's so good." And then the computer makes them flip forward, and then you play against a human and they flip forward, and all of a sudden you can't air throw them, and so now your entire mix-up is gone, right? Okay, so of course the computer is never going to flip forward for me now. So there you go. That just destroyed your entire mix-up, right? So you really need to make sure that you learn how to cover all these bases. Learn how to fight these different options. Let me switch teams here for you guys so I can show you another example of this. This was a team that I used a long time ago, which was the Felicia Strider team that I had. I don't care who my opponents are. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't know about this in Marvel, the fact that you can hold left or right when you do the reset and start in different corners, please make sure you learn that because that's so useful. I mean, I wish they did that in every fighting game. I wish you could just start in any corner that you wanted. So good. So if you don't know about that, also if you hold one of the assist buttons when you reset, you automatically start with that character instead. You know, that's another super important thing in training mode. So, but here we go. I had a mix-up here that involved launching and calling Strider at the same time. Whoops. Let's try that again. Boom, like this. And what it ended up doing is at the very end of a combo where hit stun was very high, let's see if I can do this. You could actually hit him if they flipped backwards. Wow, why can't I get that to combo today? This is bad. So if they flip backwards, see what you can't actually see what I'm doing with Felicia down there is I'm actually jump canceling the launcher into the catwalk, which actually goes behind the opponents in the corner. And so this trick was really good because maybe Wolverine is actually too small. That's another important thing in training mode. I bring in Rocket Raccoon. Maybe Wolverine's too small. Let me bring in Rocket Raccoon. One of the important things about training mode is always to try to use different opponents. Don't keep doing everything on Ryu because you'll find out a lot of problems if you keep doing combos on the same character. Why can't I fireball? Wow, that actually misses him too. Interesting, interesting. Okay. But, I mean, why is he always flipping forward? That's like my favorite thing about this is that every time I set him to random, they always do one thing. So, for example, if they flip back here. Oh, you know what? I'm such a tard. Oh, my God. I have the wrong assist. That's why. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Okay, so let's try this again, shall we? Let's put him back to random flipping. Here we go. So if I can get him to flip forward, like so, I can hit him with that, right? So now I want to test my catwalk method here, if that actually works, if he flips forward. I'm so sorry these combos are so long. I wish this was Street Fighter because then I could just do it really quick instead of having to go through this whole rigmarole. See, now if he flips back, that actually hits him as a cross-up because I catwalk under him. But the important part is that you keep trying. Like, so I had to set him to random like this just to see what different scenarios this actually worked under. If he flipped forward, it didn't work. And if he flipped backwards, then it would work. And so by setting it to random, it's actually helpful. I had a mix-up in Vanilla when the Toy Touch wasn't as hit stun deterioration prone that I could actually test the mix-up on as well. Let me just do it this way. So I'm going to set the computer to all guard. All guard. Here we go. So now I'm going to test this little mix-up here. Okay, see, that covered him when he actually flipped backwards. Oh, great. Now I'm not going to be able to do this. There we go. All right, so now we have Ghost Rider in here again. Okay, so he flipped backwards again. So let's just say by random he flipped forward, okay? Because I have the worst luck in this. See, now you see that by testing it on random, I can actually test to see if it works on both directions and then practice my follow-up. If I need a different follow-up for both of them, if it's like a slightly different timing, having the fact that it's random there actually helps a lot. I apologize, like this example's not particularly concrete, so I I really wish this was vanilla because I had a really good example of this in vanilla, and I don't know the equivalent of a proper example in this game here. But another one I used to do is just that kind of a reset there, where you jab them out of the air and then follow up properly and air throw in the proper direction. One time I was actually trying to test to see what would happen if I jump straight up. So jump straight up, I can air throw him, right? So let's actually see if that still works if he flips the other direction. Whoops. Oh, see, flip forward again, but because I have him on forward. Oh my god. I'm so retarded today. I apologize to everybody here. Okay, so jumping straight up catches both backflip and forward flip. And see, so that's kind of a nice thing to test as well. So what I would do is just keep repeating that combo over and over and over again and make sure that I can react properly to forward flip or back flip and get the air throw on him. And yeah, you can set him in one direction or the other, but you'd be surprised at how often, just because you know which direction he's going to go, that you'll change your timing ever so slightly by actually setting him to random so that you actually don't know which way he's going to go. Helps a lot. And God, will you flip forward, please? Stupid Ghost Rider. Okay, he's not going to flip. Oh, oh my gosh. All right, I'm done. I'm done. My brain is fried here, dude. Seriously. I'm done here because I'm messing up all over the place here. And the good news is that Ultra David is in the house. Hopefully he's not as brain dead tired as I am right now, so that he'll actually be able to help you guys out a little bit. Nope. Nope. Oh, okay. So David didn't think he was going to be ready for this, so he doesn't have any content ready for this at all. So yeah, so I guess I'll take a break really quick. I'll do some Ask jchensor questions, and then he'll come back here and help me with the community stuff. So I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day for me, so all right, we'll be right back. Hey, at least the good news is that I've remembered to turn the microphone back on every single time. I mean, that's probably the last thing I could have just done here, is sit here and talk silent. What's that? Oh, let's see here. So let's do some Ask jchensor stuff here. And of course, I'm not even going to be able to answer these properly just because I'm going to be completely messed up here. But so one question to follow up on what we did last week. I did an episode on frame traps. Fabricio 4P, I've answered one of his questions before a long time ago, but he asked me a question here: is fuzzy guarding a form of a frame trap? So if you remember last week, I was talking about how you can bait somebody into touching a button or just to stop blocking, and then you frame trap them. Fuzzy guarding is actually not a form of frame trap. Fuzzy guarding is taking advantage of a weird glitch in the game. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to test this here. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show you fuzzy guarding really simply here. Let me try real quick. So the concept of fuzzy guarding is the fact that a move that normally wouldn't be an overhead, so like this, for example, I can't actually hit him with the overhead like this, right? In Street Fighter 4 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, there's this weird glitch in the game that just has this problem that once the character starts crouching, they don't actually fully crouch. It's really weird. The pre-crouching frames, like while they're squatting, actually still counts them as being tall, but at the same time, they're count as low blocking. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold diagonally down and quickly record Ghost Rider and then stop, right? So what I'm going to try to do here is set him to all guard. So he's on all guard. So what I'm going to do is all guard and play back. Whoops. This is where you have to play twister fingers here, right? So I'm going to make him do this and then low block. So I can do that just by pushing record. right? Because like I said, I held block before I hit the record button, and then when I hit record, you see Ghost Rider guards like that. So every time I play back, he's going to immediately guard. So another little trick to doing recording in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This, of course, is kind of unique to this game. But I don't know if this actually works as a fuzzy guard. So I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. It might not actually work as a fuzzy guard. What other move can I try? But essentially, what happens is, yeah, it's not going to work. If I have a move that hits low enough, like Adon's jumping straight up roundhouse, for example, you can actually use it as a fuzzy guard. And right when they start crouching, if you actually get him to... Sorry, I can't talk and do this at the same time. So if they actually crouch right when you actually jump back and attack like that, they're still tall, but they're counted as crouching. So if you can hit them in the head, because obviously, you know, something like this can hit him while he's standing. If I actually hit him while he's trying to crouch, since he counts as low blocking, you actually hit him. That's what a fuzzy guard is. And, you know, that's probably not a great explanation. I might even have to dedicate a whole, like, 15-minute segment to what fuzzy guarding is. But the short answer is no. Fuzzy guarding is not the same thing as a frame trap. They're very, very different things. If you want any more details, you know, by all means, tweet me again or send me an email or something like that. So, another one, a question that I got from Elbert. And this is a good question. I like this. He asked me what a Kara throw is. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about Kara throws in fighting games. And, you know, it's kind of funny because I use that term so, you know, just like whenever, that I completely just forget that a lot of people might not even know what a Kara throw is. Basically, in fighting games, certain games, I mean... Marvel is way more lenient that I can cancel a normal move at any time. But most Street Fighter games, you can't cancel a move when they whiff. But the very first few frames of a normal move, you can usually cancel into a special move. This was a safeguard on just in case you did Fireball, and like you do, for example, you do down, down, forward, forward, but you hit the button to do the Fireball a little too early. If you hit it at down, forward, but then keep mashing the button, what ends up happening is that, like, let's say I do Fireball with Light Punch. The Light Punch will come out for like one frame because I hit it at down forward, but then the first few frames of it can be canceled into a special move. That's basically what a Kara cancel is. It's a safeguard that allows you to do things at off timings. For example, dashing in Marvel here, I can actually hit light and medium at the same time and get the dash. But if I hit them one frame apart, I can still get the dash. It's kind of the same concept. The game is basically throwing you a bone, making it so that they're not forcing you to hit the buttons exactly on the same frame. And so what a Kara cancel ends up doing is that you purposely cancel the first few frames of a normal move into something else so that you get a different effect. I really wish I had Street Fighter in right now, but for example, Ken's step kick, he can actually Kara cancel that in Street Fighter 4. And the reason why it's so important to Kara cancel that move is that the very first couple of frames of Ken's step kick move him like this far. So the very first frame of step kick, Ken goes this far right away. So if I throw here without doing a Kara throw, I'm just going to whiff a throw right here. But if I Kara throw, you start the step kick, and the step kick pushes you this far, and then the throw cancels the step kick, and you throw from over here. Actually, let me show you an example of that with Felicia here. I am going to do her regular command throw here. Whoa, that was really far. Holy smokes. Okay, so let's get about this far here, for example. And if I try to do her command throw here, I'm going to whiff, right? This is not going to hit. You could actually Kara throw her back hard punch right here. You can't really tell, but the very first frame that she does this, she extends herself really far. So I'm just going to sit here and do this, and now I'm going to try to carrot throw it. Very hard to do. You see that? So the reason why that worked is because the back hard punch pushes her forward a little bit. And so now all of a sudden when I do the back hard punch, I technically fall into this range so that my command throw actually connects. See that again? Now if I go that distance and try to command throw, it's not going to grab. Back hard punch and throw, I can throw. That's an example of a carrot throw right there. It's basically you're canceling the beginning of a move that has forward momentum, so you actually increase the range of your grab. Oh, that's so hard. There it is. So that's basically what a carrot throw is. All right, let me see if I have any other questions that I want to answer here. I'm probably going to just save some of the questions more for next week, but just to remind everybody again, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, send them to us at ultrachentv@gmail.com. Dude, I am so gone right now. This is really sad. This is very, very sad. So if you have any questions, email us at ultrachentv@gmail.com. And in the subject, put Ask jchensor in there. Or if you want, tweet us at ultrachentv with the hashtag of Ask jchensor. And I will try my best to answer those questions on the show. Like I said, I have a bunch of questions I have not gotten to. At one point in time, I might actually just dedicate a whole episode of going through a bunch of these questions because I really do feel bad leaving out a lot of questions. I know a lot of people are asking me and they're probably waiting for their questions to be answered. So one day I might just actually just go through a bunch of these questions just as one episode of First Attack. All right. So I'm going to take a quick break right now, and when we come back, David will join me and we'll do a little bit of the community stuff. So stick around. We will be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm rejoined by spiffy-looking David here.
Yeah, sorry I was late, and also that I don't have a show tonight. Sometimes in profession that I have, you have to go late, and sometimes you don't know when that's going to be. So I'm late and wasn't, unfortunately, able to make a topic for the show tonight.
Right.
But I did manage to get in time just to talk about community stuff, so that's what we're going to talk about now.
Yeah.
We like to bring up different scenes around the world. Please send us an email at ultrachentv@gmail.com if you'd like us to talk about your scene.
Yep. And or you can, actually, please send us an email. And when you do, try to include a Facebook page or a Twitter account or something that people can get in contact with you.
For sure.
If you don't have one yet, create a Twitter account right now just so people can tweet to you and try to find out more information about the scene.
Yeah, I mean, after all, the reason that we're doing this is to help more people find scenes that might be near them that they might not know about. And so if you tell us about your scene but don't give us any way to help other people contact you, then it's not really all that useful.
Right. So, I mean, the first group that we actually want to talk about here is not even really necessarily a local community. It's more like an online community in a way.
Yeah.
But they've been doing a lot of work here. This is the Panda X Gaming crew. And, really ups to them as well, because not only have they been doing a lot of stuff online and streaming. They're even trying to sponsor players now too as well. I do believe Snake Eyes from SoCal here is sponsored by Panda X Gaming.
Yeah, PXG Snake Eyes.
Yeah, and so what they always do is they just have a bunch of matches. They set up a bunch of first to tens occasionally on twitch.tv/PandaXGaming. And you can actually watch a bunch of matches. Sometimes they have Latif on there. Snake Eyes has been on there. iPeru's been on there. Weirdo Neo has been on there. And they have a lot of players there who actually play. So, definitely check them out. Let me see. It's run by Solid Panda, who is one of the main supporters of the Arkansas community. So, it's kind of a good way to show that, no matter where you're from, you can try to do a lot of stuff to help grow communities everywhere,
And one of the cool things about the stream is that it has people playing from all over North America, right? It's not just in one particular area. You have Latif from Arizona, living in Arizona. You have Weirdo Neo living in Alaska. You have Snake Eyes in California, et cetera, et cetera. I think Wolfkrone was on there once.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So, they just have a lot of high-level play. You can check that out. I think that's Monday nights. Did you say that?
No, I did not, actually.
I think that's Monday nights. So twitch.tv/PandaXGaming is where you can find that.
Yeah, and if they can provide, if they're listening right now, if they can provide us with a lot more like schedules or something like that, we would be more than happy to tweet that out as well.
For sure.
Next one that we want to talk about is Midwest community here. Midwest, they have a pretty strong player base. They've had a history of strong players, like back in the Super Turbo days. They had like Wes Trulson out there. That's where Seth Killian's from. That's where Derek Daniels is from. Flo obviously was from that area.
It's true.
And so, I want to give a shout outs to the Chicago community here. And it says here that so the person who wrote us is a fellow named Domingo Ayala, and he used to run tournaments at the Nickel City. He used to run the Midwest Challenge around the turn of the millennium, I should say.
Sounds so weird.
I know. I was about to say turn of the century.
I mean, it was.
Yeah. And they stopped running those eventually, but then they kind of picked up again, and now it seems like, let me see, pick up. And fed up, I took matters into my hands. Now we are looking at 3 venues for gatherings. So they have Ignite Mondays, Windy City Showdowns at Galloping Ghost Arcade on Thursdays, and WCS Nickel Saturdays.
Yeah, and he says that the main venue at Galloping Ghost Arcade, it can get up to 60 people showing up every week, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and keep in mind that he sent us this a while ago. This is actually one of the earliest ones that we got. We got this message around February, so things might have actually even changed then. So Domingo, if you're listening, or if anybody else from the Chicago scene is listening to this, please send us another email with any updates. I mean, so he says that they're looking at 3 venues for gatherings, which was the Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. If they are actually at a point right now where all 3 of them are consistent, or if one of them is the main one,
right.
Let us know, and we can definitely tweet that information out so people in the Midwest area can actually gather here.
Well, they also have a Facebook page. It's the Chicago Fighting Game Community. We will tweet that information out. As always, when we do these community shout-outs, we will put on Twitter the locations of different scenes that we talk about, and also their contact info, which is at twitter.com/UltraChenTV.
Yeah, and Domingo has said that the community there, he felt like it really dropped off at one point, but it's really growing again. And so, his own words, he wants to encourage a lot of different communities out there. He was saying basically, if their community can go from, this point where it was just kind of at a low point and build up again, that any community can do that. And I really like that message that, he's basically says, Chicago is blowing up now, as a major scene. And
it's cool.
I would love to see a lot more players coming out from that area, start regaining that Midwest dominance that used to exist from
It'd be
before.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. Also want to talk about my old MDVA scene. So I'm from SoCal. I went to college in NorCal, and then I went to law school in D.C. So I've had like these different areas. But in Maryland, Virginia, D.C., there's going to be a major this weekend. It's Civil War 4. It'll be in Richmond, Virginia. It's going to be the first major in Virginia since V-Time, the first year that I lived there in like 2005 or 2006, which I got top 8 at in Third Strike. But this was in the days when if you got top 8, it was like, who cares? It was top 3 or nothing. I don't even know that it got on a website.
Pretty much.
You know?
I know.
I don't think it was even recorded. But it's going to be the first one in Virginia in a long time. It's going to have all of the major Evo games. It's also going to have Skullgirls. It'll have Evo points. Actually, they're gonna have arcade games on free play, and those will be open.
Nice.
For the whole night, overnight.
What's the arcade that this is at?
It's Strange Matter, I think.
Strange Matter.
I'm not sure if this is actually at Strange Matter. I think that it's going to be in a different venue or something. But they're going to have the arcade machines from Strange Matter. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of top East Coast players there, and if you win, the prizes are replica Civil War swords.
What?
I'm not even kidding about that.
Dude, people are stepping up on their prizes right now. I mean, we got replica Civil War swords, and we've got Infinity Gauntlets at UFGT8. Dude,
I know,
that's
it's crazy.
sick.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
but my good friend on the East Coast, Robin Renegade, is the
Yeah.
dude arranging this whole thing, and it's going to be awesome for me to go back there this weekend. I'm actually making a whole trip out of it. I got friends and family in DC, so
I was
I'm
about
going
to
to
say,
go
because
hang.
you hadn't mentioned yet that you were going to this event.
I'm going to this
You
event.
are going
yeah.
to this event.
Again, I have a lot of friends and family in DC, so I'm going to go a day early and hang out with them, and I'm busing down to Richmond, and hopefully I get to see all my friends from back in the day.
Who's streaming it?
Team Spooky is
So
streaming.
Spooky is streaming it, and you will be there doing commentary, most likely with Ski Sonic, right? All right,
I believe
so
that's correct.
that'll be very cool.
I'm stoked, man. I'm looking forward to all the games. Like I said, it's all the major Evo games. And in addition to that, it's also Skullgirl. So I'm and also Super Turbo as well.
Oh, sick. Do you know if the Atlanta crew's coming up or anything like that?
I assume. I mean, it's not super close, but it's
Yo, I'm calling Atlanta out.
Yeah,
You guys had better go.
yeah.
No, it should be super exciting because the nice thing about it is it's
Third
kind of
strike too, I think.
it's kind of in the middle of the East Coast,
It is
right?
indeed.
So it's accessible by everyone. I mean, DJ Hoshin, who's kind of from that area,
Maryland.
right? He goes up to the New York tournaments all the time, and Noel Brown travels down to the Maryland tournaments all the time as well. So it's really accessible to all the different groups. If you're anywhere on the East Coast, try to make it out there. It
Yeah,
should be
definitely.
super fun. It should be a lot of fun out there. So.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be this weekend. Like we were saying before, we want to keep doing community shout outs. So please, if you are listening to this and either don't have a huge scene or you'd like to find one, or you do have an up-and-coming scene that you have contact information for, please send us an email at ultrachentv@gmail.com. We'll put out the information that we just listed on our Twitter account, which is twitter.com/ultrachentv.
Right. And before we end today's session, I just want to ask everyone on the stream a little favor here. I just updated the drivers on our capture device here.
Yes.
And so I hope everything is a lot better. I know all the other weeks that we kind of end up with delays after we've run a stream for about this long. So I'm going to hold the joystick up to the microphone here and please
Let's see how that looks. Ooh, we're a little bit behind actually, but that's...
Are we sure yet? Because that might have been the first time.
Yeah, so it's not going to be at Strange Matter. It'll be at the Comfort Inn Midtown, which is in Richmond.
Oh, look at that. It's still only like half a second behind.
Okay, it's not that bad.
Oh, sick. Okay,
Cool, I'm
yes.
glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of delay, but it's a lot closer than it used to be. We're stepping our stuff up here.
And hopefully it won't actually get because before it used to start great, and
Yeah.
then it would just start lagging a little
Definitely.
bit more.
Dude, we even got like pop filters coming in.
So I have the pop
Oh,
filter
you got
right
it?
here.
Oh.
So look, I have a pop filter, but I'm just worried that it just looks kind of odd, like
Oh, let
to
me
the
see.
stream. So,
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
I tried getting the pop filter here to make it so the doesn't, just doesn't keep messing it up.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if this looks kind of weird because it blocks half of my face. So I'm not. Sure.
It's a little funky.
Yeah.
It's a little funky.
Yeah, it's a little odd. The next thing I'm looking into is for those guys who have actually seen the Dr. Sub-Zero show. I don't know what microphones they're using, but their microphones are like way the heck back there, and they're just chilling on the couch, and everyone talks and they hear them.
Yep.
These microphones are. I mean, I seriously bought bottom of the barrel microphones because if I do this, suddenly you can't hear me anymore.
I know.
I'm just right here. It's so bad.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're pretty crappy, but hey, man, maybe one day we'll get enough of that esports medal.
those esports pennies.
That's
right.
right.
That's
maybe
right.
We'll get there one of these days.
We're gonna be throwing copper at this problem,
Ooh,
dude.
yeah.
So yeah,
A mountain of those.
yeah, we're definitely working our way up, trying to improve as much as possible. This new capture device now, the drivers works with CamTwist, so I feel like that should improve a lot here. We won't have a lot of those delay problems like we had before. So
Yep.
we're getting there.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
getting
For
there.
sure. All right. So again, I'm sorry that I don't have a level 3 focus for today. Just unfortunate timing as far as some prior obligations went. What are you gonna do? It's how it works sometimes. But we will be back tomorrow, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. as per usual for Tuesday something.
Yep, right after Wake Up SRK, which starts at 6:30 Pacific time, and that would be 9:30 Eastern time.
Correct. That's on
Yep.
twitch.tv/Keats.
Yep, and then after our show is done at 9 p.m. Western time, which is midnight in Eastern time.
Yep.
Will be cross counter, of course, with Mike Ross and apparently Wizards. Gonna be the guest on
Mr.
there
Wizard will
tomorrow.
be there?
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, really?
Wizard's gonna be on the guest. Apparently, he has some announcements about Evo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that should be really interesting.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, dude, I need to like drill him and find out what's going on.
You want to know in advance?
I want to
You don't
know in
wanna wait?
advance. Yeah,
You don't want to
that
wait?
way I can be just like in the show, like I know what he's gonna say, and just be all like
Secret man.
smug
Yeah.
about it or
I
something
wish I was
like
Illuminati.
that. That's right. No, I'm kidding. All right. So yep.
Okay, so hope you enjoyed James Chen hour and a half today.
Yep, and also don't forget Ryan Hunter's Mix Up Mondays might still be going on, so check that out at optionselect.com.
Or as we just mentioned,
Panda
X Gaming,
yeah.
twitch.tv/Panda X Gaming. Not sure if that's happening tonight, but the email did say that it happens on Mondays.
Right. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in. Peace out, everybody.